Right, Clarets, fan reaction. Burnley 2, Norwich City 1. 29 undefeated. 29 games undefeated. 13 goals conceded all season up to this point. We are top of the league. Absolute remarkable records that we've been breaking all season. And tonight we had to show real fight. We had to dig in deep. We had to, show our strong defensive capabilities in that second half. But the first half, wow. I mean, it shouldn't have been 2-1. We should have been going in at half-time 3 or 4-0 up. After Anthony's goal, the second goal, I felt there were goals in that game for us. And I really wanted us to go for it because, obviously, where we are at this point in the season, 4 games left, how tight it is at the top of the league, goal difference could be crucial. And we're doing the right things at the one end of the pitch. It's the other end of the pitch what has been our Achilles heel all season. And that's where I just wanted us to go for it a little bit more. But I'm not going to sit here and complain because I'm absolutely buzzing. I'm absolutely delighted. We're top of the league. All right, it might only be for tonight. Obviously, you've got Sheffield United and Leeds left to play tomorrow. But as it stands, we're top of the league again. But yeah, onto the match. Like I say, the first half I thought we were absolutely fantastic. I thought we stepped onto them really well. We had complete, not necessarily dominance, but it felt like dominance on the ball. They just couldn't seem to get the ball off us. And like I said, it felt like when Hannibal scored, it felt like it was only a matter of time before that goal was going to go in. And it's a really nice passing move. It's really, really nice. I remember when we first signed Cullen, in that first game, that Huddersfield game, he did a little chip ball over the top. And I can't remember who got onto the end of it. But it was something that was, it's something so simple. And you see players like, looking back in the day, like Fabregas used to do it, and Iniesta and players like that. And it was something that we hadn't really had in the team up to that point. And I know it sounds daft going back that far, but that's what Hannibal's goal was tonight. Someone making that run and Cullen lifting the ball over the top. And it's a perfectly weighted ball because the lad that Hannibal has to challenge with, he's a big lad. But Hannibal controls it so well with his chest. I think he's a little bit off balance as he does hit it into the back of the net, but it doesn't matter. It goes in. And absolutely delighted for him because the lad didn't know what to do with himself after he'd scored the goal. He didn't know how to celebrate. He went to take his shirt off and then probably thought, hang on a minute, I could get a yellow card if I do that. He just didn't know what to do and absolutely made up for him. And then the second goal, okay, we've got a bit fortunate with the deflection, but I feel like we've made our own luck with that. Brownhill's picked the ball up in midfield, giving it to Anthony, he's cut inside, had a shot, and if it were going to go in off any of their players, I'm so glad it went in off Duffy. But yeah, like I said, you've got to make your own luck sometimes, and I think we deserved that goal, even though, like I say, it was a bit of luck. We deserved that second goal. And after that, I really, really thought we were going to go for the jugular, and get a few more goals. But, it wasn't to be. And like I say, you've got the chance from Steve. Edwards had a chance early on in the first half. There's, there are moments where you think, oh, that could have made it, a little bit more comfortable. second half, I'm not gonna sit here and complain. Like I say, I thought their game plan obviously changed at half time. Brought Sargent into the game, and I think he changed it a lot for him. He is a class striker, and I'd love it if we went out and tried to get him in the summer, but I can't see it happening. But yeah, I thought he not changed the game for him, but gave them a little bit of energy and a little bit of freedom, and we struggled to really sort of create anything in that second half. Which it sounds harsh because I know that we did have some chances, but it felt like a little bit more of a backs to the wall in that second half and grind out the result. And not really need to get into second gear going forward, because it were almost like it's job done. We've had 3 games in the space of 7 days. Job done. Shut up shop. Focus goes to Watford now. So yeah, I can't really complain about the performance. Like I said on the full-time show at the weekend, it's not about the performance at the minute. It's about getting the results, and we've got the result again tonight. Like I said at the start, 29 games undefeated is absolutely incredible. So yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing. I thought, there's not a player tonight who I can single out as being absolutely awful. There's no one who I can pull out of the team and say, oh, they played very poor. I think tonight was probably one of Edwards' poorer games. I think it was Roberts one of his poorer games. But I'm not gonna start slagging players off. But I thought Perez was absolutely fantastic on the left hand side again. I thought Steve, Egan Riley, they did the job that you always expect him to do. I thought Steve mainly was absolutely phenomenal. I thought Cullen did well in midfield, ran the show. Hannibal, outstanding. I'm glad that he got his goal tonight, but he could have had a couple more. The chance that rattled off the post. I honestly thought, from where I sit in the Jimmy Macupper, it was the perfect view of that. And as it fell to him, I just thought, I can see him curling this into the bottom corner. It was the perfect place for him. But he was just slightly too far to the left, and it was unfortunate because he's had a season of obviously rollercoaster moments. And he probably finds himself a little bit unlucky not to be in the starting 11 at the minute. But yeah, absolutely made up for him. He's come into the side tonight and he's got that goal. So yeah, absolutely made up for Hannibal. I thought, like I say, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. But yeah, we've got a week's rest now. Watford next Friday. We've got 7 days to have a bit of rest. Not necessarily rest, but a little bit of a break. Compose ourselves. Get ready, because we've got 4 massive games left. I've told you from Christmas, the title is still on. I honestly believe that we're going to go up as champions. Up the Clarets.